Hi, this is Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today I am going to take you for a walk through the trial garden and just show you all the beautiful shrubs that are blooming currently. It is the end of June, and it's just amazing how much color there is in this garden. There's going to be new introductions. There's going to be items that have been on the market for a while. So hopefully you find this interesting. I'd love to hear your comments below if there's certain plants that you just fell in love with. Also, if you have questions, don't hesitate to leave those. I will point out Garden Crossings is a mail order company. We ship plants across the United States. So if there's any of these shrubs that just really took an interest to you, or you took an interest to, feel free to check them out on our website at gardencrossings.com. Let's take a look at the garden today and see what's blooming. The Rise Up Amberness rose is a mini climbing rose that was introduced in 2022. It's got this beautiful amber orange color to it, maybe a little bit of a yellow pink in there, but really a very nice large flower, fragrant. So I think that's important to me anyways when planting roses. The Rise Up Amberness can get about 3 to 5 foot tall. So these plants here, these are fairly newly planted in this garden. And you can see how they do have kind of a stake there that one is tied onto. I'm not sure that these are going to actually need a stake, so that's something we'll kind of have to watch as the season goes on. But I did want to show you these out in the garden so you can kind of get a look and a feel of what Rise Up Amberness looks like. It's got beautiful summer blooms, hardy in zones 4 to 8. Not a super tall climber, so that's really nice, I think. It looks a lot like the Atlas rose, not quite as peachy, but still has that nice full flower that you may be used to if you grow the Rise Up roses. Just a beautiful summer blooming rose. I'm self-cleaning so I can see that they're dropping their petals, and then they'll just continue to put on more blooms as the summer goes along. Really a beautiful color introduction here to the climbing rose family is the Rise Up Amberness. We're talking today about the Rise Up Lilac Days climbing rose. So like Rise Up Amberness, this is a mini climbing rose, probably one of the more vigorous in the climbing rose collection so far. This has these beautiful light pinky lavender blooms. Lilac Days can get up to 5 to 8 foot tall. Right now they have it kind of growing up a bamboo pole. And these are about 4 foot tall right now, so fairly immature plants at this point. I mean, it was only introduced this year, 2022, but definitely it's nice to at least see them starting off in the landscape. You know, we all have to start somewhere, and we're not going to have an 8-footer to start with. So I think this is a great indicator of just, you know, what this plant looks like even at a young stage. These are hardy in zones 4 to 8. Got the semi-double blooms, and what you might want to do when it's done blooming is just give it a little bit of a light trim. We'll take a look here. It does drop all of its petals and such, but I would come through and just trim off some of those dead flower heads and then let it rebloom with a clean, tidy look. Not necessarily entirely, but just something I would probably do in my own garden to keep them looking good. So if you're looking for a climbing rose that's kind of a lavender shade, you may want to consider the Rise Up Lilac Days. This is surely going to become a favorite of mine. This is the Reminiscent Coral Rose, and these flowers are huge and fragrant and just absolutely, the color is so breathtaking. The thing that really stands out here is, I mean, the size of these blooms and the color. So much greatness about this plant right now. I'm just super excited. I feel like a kid in a candy store. Definitely this is something that is going to get planted into my garden right next to the Reminiscent Crema Rose, which is also just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous white fragrant rose. The Reminiscent, scent is in the name, series really is a beautiful large flowering fragrant rose. The Reminiscent series is hardy in zones 4 to 9, and they get about 2.5 to 3 foot tall. So these plants here are on the young side, probably been in this garden, I'm guessing a year, maybe 2. They like to be grown in full sun, and it is a summer reblooming rose. Great as a cut flower. I mean, can you imagine? Let's go in and take a look here. Nice thick stem. big cluster of flowers. Imagine the fragrance that would bring into your home. Just a stunning, stunning rose. I'm excited to watch as these continue to grow and mature out here in the garden. Looks like they're fairly self-cleaning, dropping all their petals, and a lot of blooms and a lot of buds just waiting to emerge and just continue to keep this flower blooming all summer long. If you're used to the David Austin roses, I think the Reminiscent series is going to give them a run for their money. As we're walking through the garden, this color just says stop and check me out. This is a mass planting of the Oh So Easy Peasy roses. This rose was a winner of the 2017 American Rose Society of Excellence with the No Spray division. So a very, very clean rose that really doesn't require a lot of care. And the flowers, so many flowers on this plant. I will say the flowers are a little bit smaller than maybe what other roses in your garden may be, but small is okay when you have the mass of blooms that this rose is showing here in this garden. Oh So Easy Peasy gets about 2.5 to 3.5 foot tall and wide. So this is a pretty mature planting of this plant. There's several of them here all in a row, hardy in zones 4 to 9, planted in a full sun garden and just doing absolutely stunning. So if you're looking to create a border of roses that's easy to grow, gives you lots of color throughout the summer, consider giving the Oh So Easy Peasy roses a try. If you're looking for a shrub that checks all the boxes when it comes to a difficult planting area, the Kodiak Fresh might just fill the bill for you. So Kodiak Fresh is a native flower. You can see here it's got the bright lime green leaves. The tips on it are kind of a coppery orange color. This plant has interest pretty much in all seasons, spring through fall. It does get some little flowers on it, although these are just the start of the flower. They will be yellow when they bloom, so not a super significant bloom, but it does bloom a little bit, so the pollinators do like this. This is a deer resistant shrub, so if deer are an issue, that won't be a problem. It grows in full sun to full shade, although I will point out the more sun it gets, the more intense and vibrant the colors will be. It gets about 2 to 3 foot tall, so these plants are pretty mature here right now and about that same width. So really a gorgeous plant for deer is a problem. Even, I should say, clay soil. If you got clay soil, this plant will handle the clay soil no problem. So a nice plant to fill in just that hard to plant area is the Kodiak Fresh. Can you imagine driving home and getting to the entrance of your house and coming across this gorgeous mass of color? This is the Urban Legend Rose. Beautiful, deep, dark red flowers. There is a little bit of variation as the flowers age. They'll go from that deep, which you would expect to be a rich red, to kind of a faded pinkish red, but just a major mass of color. This is part of the Oh So Easy family, so it's a highly disease resistant flowering rose. The Urban Legend Rose gets about 2.5 to 3 foot tall and wide, so fairly compact in size. Blooms all summer. It reblooms, hardy in zones 4 to 9. This is also a nice award-winning rose, and I can totally see why. It's just a gorgeous mass of color. The foliage is clean, and just definitely the type of plant that you would love to have welcome you home as you come through the beautiful gates here. So if you're looking for something to plant in mass that just has an amazing splash of color, consider giving the Oh So Easy Urban Legend Rose a try. Sometimes we have that space in our garden that we're just looking for something that will fill it in and cover. That way we don't get weeds. Sometimes it's maybe an island in a parking lot or something like that, and you just want a nice green appearance that's not weedy. Well, here we have a shrub for you. This is the Aronia Groundhug, and this is a hard-working Aronia. It has a nice, thick, dense mat of foliage. It really minimizes the need for weeding, and also too, it eliminates needing to mulch because this plant will just really cover the area in nicely. It's got beautiful glossy foliage. In the spring, it does have nice white flowers. It's June right now, so the flowers have long past faded, but those flowers do turn to nice purple berries in the summer. In the fall, the foliage will take on nice golden hues of orange and red, making this native plant a really nice, almost three-season, I would say, shrub with the berries, with the flowers, the berries, and then the great fall foliage. Great for planting on slopes, like you can see have been done here in this garden, or just in an area that you want something there, but don't know what, and you want it to fill in the space. This shrub really is ideal for those difficult spaces. If you've got like commercial spaces that you just want something to fill it in, or like I was saying, in parking lots or on slopes, this Aronia Groundhug is just a nice plant. And you can see here in the sun how the leaves are just shimmering, really pretty. Gets about 8 to 14 inches tall and can spread up to 3 foot wide. So when you're planting it, kind of keep your spacing in mind. That way you can fill in your area nicely. Hardy in zones 3 to 9, so really a very hardy plant as well. Plant in full sun to part shade, and this native is going to just really take over that space and give you a nice green look without having to see the weeds. Everything in the garden always has to seem so prim and proper, and here is a super fun plant that adds a lot of whimsy. We'll move in closer, and I'm going to show you the Sambucus laced up. Laced up features a deep dark near black foliage, and you can just see how it's got kind of that whimsy, airy feel, long stalks that are covered with the leaves. And right now, laced up is blooming. It is an elderberry, so it has these beautiful, well, first let's just look at the leaves. Nice serrated, dark black leaves. But with the elderberry, it also has these beautiful white elderberry blooms that will turn into berries as the blooms ripen. So just something really fun and whimsy to add into the garden. If you're just needing a little something that's kind of a conversation piece or just adds a little whimsy fun, consider giving the Sambucus laced up a try. The sun has moved a little bit, and now the candy corn Spirea is out of the shade for the most part and into the sun. So you can see how in the sun it just really brightens up the candy corn. And actually I'm going to try to do kind of a side by side because there's a little bit of this plant yet in the shade. So the sun just really brightens up that foliage a lot. Really kind of makes that orange pop just a little bit better. The flowers just look a little bit more vibrant. As when in the shade, let's show you a shady part, the plant looks a lot more lime green. So really cool that this plant has kind of two entirely different looks when it's in more of a shade area as opposed to when the sun shines on it. So this candy corn Spirea is it's such a fun, awesome plant. If you haven't seen our video yet where it's just emerging in the spring, it's gorgeous. So check out the candy corn Spirea if you haven't already. This is Heidi from Garden Crossings. Thank you for walking through the gardens with me today. I hope you found this inspirational and maybe something that you hadn't thought of before you now have on your wish list. As before, you can always order online at gardencrossings.com and we'll ship it to your door. Or if you're local to Zeeland, Michigan, check out our retail store. Thank you for walking through the gardens with me today. Until next time, this is Heidi from Garden Crossings.